I wanted my son's first summer business to be a triumph. A little taste of the American dream, you know? Just a kid, 50 cents a cup, and a hand-painted sign that read, Liam's Legendary Lemonade. Jokes are free. We lived in Willow Creek Heights, a place where the lawns were surgically green, and the HOA, which called itself the Community Preservation Committee, ruled with an iron fist, or should I say, the iron fist of its president, a woman named Brenda Sterling. Brenda was powered by a relentless need for control and maybe a little too much kale. It was a scorcher of a July day when the trouble started. Liam, he's 8, all heart and pure entrepreneurial spirit in his superhero t-shirt, was doing great. People loved his terrible knock-knock jokes. They'd laugh, give him $1, and tell him to keep the change. It was perfect. Then, around 2 in the afternoon, the shade fell, and the storm arrived in the form of Kyle Sterling, Brenda's 15-year-old son, flanked by 2 equally lanky, unimpressed friends. Liam, ever the pro, straightened his imaginary tie. Welcome to Liam's Lemonade. Would you like a cup? Very refreshing. Kyle just sneered. Yeah, whatever. 3 cups. Liam poured them perfectly, condensation slicking the plastic. That'll be $1.50, please, he chirped, holding out his little hand. Kyle grabbed the cup, took a big, arrogant slurp, and never even looked at the money. Put on my tab, he said, dripping with pure entitlement. His friend snickered. I was watching from the garage, pretending to clean a rake, and my grip tightened. Peace or justice? I was ready to step in, but then I heard my wife, Sarah, from the porch. Sarah is my rock, the calm, tech-savvy strategist to my stubborn, hot-headed boulder. Kyle, she said, her voice quiet but carrying a frequency that could stop a charging rhino. I believe you dropped something. Kyle froze, looked at the half-empty cup he'd tossed onto our manicured lawn, then at Sarah, then back at his friends, who suddenly found their sneakers fascinating. He mumbled something under his breath, kicked at a loose stone, and stalked off. A tiny victory, but it felt good. Liam, my brave little warrior, had stood his ground. But as the curtain twitched shut in the Sterling's window across the street, a cold feeling hit my gut. This wasn't over. Brenda Sterling didn't tolerate dissent, and my 8-year-old had just refused to bend. The next 48 hours were a masterclass in HOA bureaucracy as a weapon. We got an official email CC'd to half the neighborhood, reminding us that all temporary commercial dispensaries required approval from the Architectural Review Committee, complete with a 20-page application, notarized signatures, and, I swear to God, a soil composition report. Sarah laughed, but deleted my blistering, sarcastic reply before I could hit send. Don't poke the bear, Jake, she warned. Let's see what she does next. What she did next was insane. It was late afternoon. Liam was consolidating his glorious $5 in the cash box. I was right there with him. That's when I heard it. Not a neighbor's friendly purr, but the aggressive, guttural roar of a large engine being pushed too hard. Brenda Sterling's pristine white SUV swung off the main road and aimed straight for our driveway. Not slowly, not carefully. It was a terrifying burst of acceleration. I didn't think I reacted. My mind screamed, but all I did was shove Liam, sending him tumbling onto the grass, out of the direct path. He was scraped, but safe. In the same motion, I threw myself forward, not at the driver's side, but at the front of the car. Crack! The sound of splintering wood and shattering glass. The SUV's bumper obliterated Liam's entire business enterprise. Lemonade and ice flew everywhere. Then, the car kept coming right at me. I slammed both hands down on the hood with every ounce of primal adrenaline I had. Bam! The metallic boom echoed through the quiet street. The SUV lurched to a halt, the bumper less than 6 inches from my legs. The engine ticked. My heart hammered. Liam was sobbing. Brenda's door flew open. She stormed out, not to check on my son, but to point a trembling, furious finger at the wreckage. You see, she shrieked, her face a vicious mask. This is an unapproved structure, a hazard. It violates Section 7, Paragraph C of the bylaws. You people are a menace. My mouth just hung open. My son was crying on the ground. His hard work was splinters, and she was quoting the rulebook. That's when I knew. This wasn't a neighborhood dispute. This was a war, and she was already trying to kill my child. Sirens cut through her unhinged rant. 2 cruisers pulled up. Immediately, Brenda transformed, clutching her chest, a trembling, terrified victim. "Officer, thank heavens. This man, he attacked me. He ran out into the road and started smashing my car." The sheer, bald-faced audacity of a lie was breathtaking. I felt my rage turn cold. I told the young officer everything, my voice steady only when I described shoving Liam. The older, seasoned cop, the one who looked like he'd seen too much, walked over to Brenda's SUV. "Ma'am," he said, calm and firm, "there are 2 distinct handprints here on your hood. They're facing forward, consistent with someone trying to stop the car from moving toward them, not someone attacking it from the side." Brenda stammered. I was scared. My foot might have rolled from the brake to the accelerator by accident. The cop sighed, looking at the 2 neighbors already showing the other officer their doorbell camera footage. He told me I wouldn't be charged. I acted in defense of my child. But when I asked if they were arresting her, he soured. "She's claiming it was an accident. Without proof of intent, charging her with assault is tough. It's a traffic incident for now. Her insurance covers the mess." My heart sank. As the police left, Brenda stood in her driveway, arms crossed, with a smirk of pure, unadulterated triumph. She hadn't even gotten a ticket. In her mind, she had won, but she didn't know who she was messing with. She was dealing with Sarah, and when it came to digging for dirt, my wife was a digital archaeologist. Less than an hour after the cops left, Sarah found the receipt. She logged into the HOA's clunky resident portal and requested the security footage. A message popped up, "File not found. This footage has been deleted." I slumped. Of course she erased it. Sarah's eyes gleamed. "Deleted, yes. Erased, no." She pulled up a black screen with blinking green text. "The server keeps a log of every action performed by its administrators." Her fingers flew, and there it was, plain as day, deleted by Admin B. Sterling at 5:35 p.m. "This," Sarah said, holding up the screenshot, "is the receipt. Proof that she actively and intentionally destroyed evidence of her crime. The cops might have closed their report, but we just got her for a felony." Brenda's harassment escalated. The ridiculous fines kept coming. Unauthorized commercial activity, improper driveway usage. We paid none of them. Instead, we received the petty attacks. Our newspaper went missing. Small piles of garbage mysteriously appeared near our curb. We documented everything, saving it all to the growing Brenda file on Sarah's secure server. Then came the tow truck. I was loading my old Ford pickup with yard waste, Liam playing with his action figures inside. I was gone for 3 minutes to grab my wallet. I came back to a massive yellow tow truck backing into my driveway, its lights flashing silently. "What the hell are you doing? My son is in there," I yelled, running toward the burly driver. He shrugged. "Got a work order, pal. Abandoned and inoperable vehicle. Violation of HOA covenants." He pointed to the sheet, signed in that familiar spiky scrawl. "Brenda Sterling, President, Willow Creek Heights CPC." "This is illegal," I shouted, my voice shaking with a dangerous fury. "My child is in that vehicle. You moved that truck with my kid inside, and it's kidnapping. Your plates and company are on camera. I'll be the one pressing charges." The driver saw the absolute certainty in my eyes and the fear on Liam's small face pressed against the window. He was just a guy doing a job. He hadn't signed up for a potential felony. He grumbled, tore the work order in half, and sped away. I looked across the street. The curtains in Brenda's window twitched shut. She had been watching. This was a direct, calculated attack, using my son as a pawn. The line had been crossed. But the final straw, the thing that turned my rage into an ice-cold resolve, was the knock on the door from Child Protective Services, CPS. "We received an anonymous tip," the polite, weary social worker said, consulting her notes. "It alleges child neglect, an unsafe living environment, and reports of a violent and unstable father." My stomach dropped. This was it. She couldn't get me arrested, couldn't seize my property. So she tried to have my son taken away. Before I could explode, Sarah stepped forward, the picture of serene, unflappable confidence. "Ms. Albright, please come in. I'm Tina, This is Jim, and our son is in the living room building an epic Lego castle. Can I get you some iced tea? Sarah didn't just answer questions. She orchestrated a masterclass in evidence-based rebuttal. She guided Ms. Albright through the clean house, the stock pantry, and then sat her down at the dining table. Let me provide you with some context for this anonymous tip, Sarah said, her voice even and pleasant. She showed the CPS worker the neighbor's video of the SUV plowing the stand. She showed the illegal tow order. And finally, she clicked on the photo of me holding a sobbing Liam after the incident. The instability this tipper mentioned is the natural reaction of a father protecting his child from a clear and present danger. Ms. Albright watched, her professional mask slowly giving way to dawning horror. She closed her notepad, her face set. This tip is baseless and malicious. I'll be filing a report about the misuse of our services for what appears to be a personal vendetta. Filing a false report with CPS is a serious offense. The time for defense was over. We were going on the attack. Our target, Arthur Vance, the HOA treasurer, an unassuming accountant known for his prize-winning roses and meticulous nature. He was our weak link, or our strongest one. I drove to Arthur's house and found him pruning a rose bush. His eyes darted nervously. This isn't about a resident communication, Arthur, I said, dropping the formality. This is about fraud, evidence tampering, and child endangerment. And as the board's treasurer, you're complicit. I showed him the tow order signed by Brenda. Did you approve the payment for this tow truck? That's misappropriation of funds. That's a crime. Arthur crumbled. She bullies everyone. She threatens to find a dozen violations at my own house. I have everything, Jake. The emails where she orders me to waive fines for her friends. The invoices for her special projects that are really just improvements to her own property. The budget reports she's doctored. He had the jackpot. I gave him a flash drive. Put everything you have on this. Drop it at the library return slot tomorrow. She'll never know it was you. The stage was set for the semi-annual Willow Creek Heights HOA meeting. The clubhouse was packed, residents lining the walls, eager to see the commotion. Brenda stood at the podium, basking in the attention, clutching her little handheld decibel meter to manage any outbursts over 85 dB. When she opened the floor, I stood up. Karen, I have a presentation. Before she could object, Sarah, positioned at the back, hit a button. The projector screen behind Brenda flickered to life. The first image was a high-definition, slow-motion shot of her SUV, her enraged face clearly visible through the windshield, bearing down on the lemonade stand. The crowd gasped. What is this? Turn that off. Brenda shrieked, spinning around, her face draining of color. But it was too late. The video transitioned to the server log, the damning red box highlighting, deleted by admin B. Sterling. Then came the emails, projected 10 feet high. Waive the Potter's fine, Arthur. Double the Wilson's fine. The final slide put it beyond doubt. The real budget next to the fake one. Thousands of dollars funneled into Brenda's private pool cleaning and wine subscription, disguised as community beautification. The dam broke. People yelled. You used our money to clean your pool. Mr. Potter screamed. Brenda jabbed the decibel meter at the crowd, her face a mask of disbelief and pure, ugly fury. You are all out of order. This meeting is adjourned. At that moment, the back doors opened, and two uniformed police officers, the same tired, seasoned cop and his partner, stepped inside. We had called them earlier, alerting them to the new evidence. The older officer walked calmly toward the podium. Brenda Sterling, he said, his voice cutting through the chaos. You're under arrest for assault with a vehicle, evidence tampering, fraud, and conspiracy. The sight of Brenda Sterling being led out of the clubhouse in handcuffs was met with a wave of stunned silence, then a triumphant smattering of applause. Her reign was over. A few weeks later, we stood at the end of our driveway where the old stand had been. Now, there was a brand new, custom-built stand, a gift from Mr. Vance, who was apparently a retired carpenter. It was bright yellow, with a striped awning and a professionally designed sign. Liam's legendary lemonade, $1.00. Jokes are still free. A line of neighbors stretched down the sidewalk, laughing, putting $5 and $10 bills in the jar. Arthur Vance was there, looking 10 years younger. Even Kyle Sterling showed up. He bought a cup and dropped a 20 in the jar. He looked Liam in the eye. "Good luck with the business," he said, and he sounded like he meant it. At the end of the day, Liam had made over $300. "Dad, I'm rich," he exclaimed. Sarah knelt beside him. "What do you want to do with it, sweetie?" Liam thought for a long moment. "The park needs a new swing," he said. "The old one is squeaky." And so, the money from the first day of the new stand was donated to the community fund, earmarked for new park equipment. We fought for justice and found peace, but more than that, we realized that an entire community was being silenced by one bully, and all it took was one little boy refusing to put on a tab to bring her entire corrupt kingdom crashing down. Call to action. Have you ever dealt with a situation where a simple rule was weaponized, or where a single person held too much power in your community? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think was the single most satisfying part of this entire saga? Hit that like button and subscribe for more stories where the bad guys finally get what's coming to them.